car with a massive cult following. Let's take a deeper look at that engine. It made the M5 the first ever production petrol V10 saloon, and was created as a result of BMW's involvement in F1 as part of the Sauber team. That's likely why it was made to rev so high and sound as good as it does. The engine has won numerous awards of the International Engine of the Year, as you can see on screen, which certainly helps when it comes to building that massive cult following I mentioned. I think what also helped grow that following with the M5 specifically over the M6 is the fact that BMW produced more than double the amount of M5s, and the asking price was originally lower than the M6. So it gave a wider group of people the opportunity to own this ridiculous V10 engine. In addition to this, M5s have a slightly more complete history since the first generation was produced in 1984, and the simple fact that an M5 will likely work far better as a family car than an M6 would. This iconic status of the M5 means that it hasn't depreciated anywhere near as much as the M6, and remains the most expensive car to put this out there straight away. The V10 in this M6 is one of the most loved V10s out there, no doubt about it. However, it is certainly not known for its reliability. There are numerous reports of it failing, with even small problems causing major dents in the bank account. For example, one owner mentioned his valve spring broke while the car was idling, and while one valve spring only costs $80, there are 40 of them and you have to replace all at once. This requires the engine to be dropped out the bottom of the car, so all in he ended up spending around $10,000 including labour on the fix. The M6 features some pretty insane materials for the money too, like a carbon fibre reinforced roof, and other light materials are used in places like the bumpers. These are not just for weight purposes. The reason why the extremities of the car are particularly light is to improve handling by reducing the moment of inertia. The BMW M6 E63, which hosts an uneven firing 5-litre V10 that Just to clear this up, the code E63 refers to the hardtop and E64 refers to the soft-top convertible, but either way you're unlikely to find a convertible for under £10,000 unless you're very lucky, as there are almost half as many convertibles sold as coupes. Though top speed is limited to 155 miles per hour, the only real reason why Audi decided to make the S8 more powerful than the S6 is the fact that it is supposed to be a more expensive, more prestigious option, and obviously more power means better. Outside of that, the formula is similar to the S6 mentioned previously. Sporty features like sports seats, firm suspension, Brembo ceramic brakes and larger alloys make it look a bit like a slightly larger saloon S6. Aesthetically, I actually think it looks a bit understated, almost like a sleeper unless you really know what it is. In terms of performance, it's not actually too dissimilar from the A8W12, which produces more torque but is actually based on a longer chassis and lacks the sporty features of the S8. It's more of a wafter than a sleeper. The S6 is available in both Avant and Saloon variants, and the former was slightly more expensive when they were brand new back in 2006. Audi marketed the S6 as a luxury car with sports car performance, which makes sense given its position just above the A6 and just below the RS6. While many mention the engine as being the same as the 5-litre V10 found in the Gallardo, in reality they only really share the same drivetrain for the 4 camshafts. Due to the slightly larger bore, allowing the car to be less aggressive than the Gallardo, the S6 actually has a different cylinder block, crankshaft, pistons and new camshafts, as well as bespoke induction and exhaust systems and a new sump. So is the engine a Gallardo engine? Well, yes, but actually no. It's also slightly different from the average V10 given the fact that you'll be filling it up with diesel rather than petrol. You might have thought this would help fuel economy, but this doesn't really seem to be the case as it will only average around 23 miles per gallon on a slow and steady drive. It is of course all-wheel drive and has all the benefits of a 4x4 like centre locking differential, low range mode, and adaptive air suspension which can change the ride height on demand. All this and that ridiculous amount of torque helped the Touareg pull a Boeing 747 jumbo jet on an episode of Fifth Gear. Not bad at all for a car that weighs over 2.5 tons. Maybe not the type of car you might associate with the V10 engine, but it comes from an era of VW where Ferdinand Piëch was obsessively trying to create the most insane cars he could, like the Veyron, the W12 Phaeton and the 261 mpg XL1, hence this was VW's idea of an ultimate 4x4.